Nora was a little cold and wanted to go home and drink some hot cocoa. But Mother kept calling out the names. Finally, the platform was almost empty. All the children were already on their way home to their new families. All except one little boy. He was maybe 5 years old. He stood next to Nora's mother and seemed even smaller than he was. His jacket was tight, too small for him, and he was struggling to hold back tears. Mother stepped aside and spoke for a moment with the children's caretaker. Minutes passed and no one appeared. Mother had to make a decision. She took the boy's hand and approached Nora. "This is Wojtuś," she said. "He'll be with us for Christmas." Nora was a little happy and a little worried. What would happen if Wojtuś stayed with them forever and Nora had to go to an orphanage? Nora knew her mother had always wanted a son, but she decided not to think about that for now. She took tearful Wojtuś's frozen hand, and the three of them set off for home. Christmas was only a few days away. Nora loved the smell of cake in the stairwell. Everything was sparkling clean. When she fell asleep, Wojtuś was already asleep in the folding cot. The entire apartment, the entire town, as the long December night fell, was quiet and peaceful. Nora liked to lie there in the dark and listen to the footsteps of passers-by, the snow crunching under their boots in the frosty air. She fell asleep quickly and woke up full of anticipation. She didn't have to go to school since it was winter break, so she played with Wojtuś. Wojtuś was a nice boy, but he was afraid of something. What is he afraid of? Thought Nora. In the morning, Grandmother washed the sheets on which Wojtuś slept. He didn't say much for a child of his age. Maybe he was afraid he had to go back to the orphanage, Nora thought. On Christmas Eve, Mother came home early from work and brought the Christmas tree. She set it on the table by the window in the living room. Grandmother was in the kitchen frying carp. Nora and Wojtuś ran over to help Mother decorate the tree. The house smelled of Christmas. Mother took boxes of Christmas decorations from the top shelf of the wardrobe. Delicate baubles, the only things that had survived the war, were arranged by color, 4 to a box: yellow, pink, blue, green backgrounds, and houses with snow-covered roofs, Christmas trees with snow caps on their branches, and red, yellow, and blue bells. Nora and Wojtuś rang each bell before Mother hung it on the tree. They cut chains out of colored paper, blew out eggs, and made them into puppets with red pointed hats and white ruffs. It was getting dark, and it was almost time for dinner. Mother attached a silver, gold, and white peak to the top of the tree, hung sparkling strands to the branches, and spread angel hair. The Christmas tree was ready. She lit candles in metal flower-shaped dishes attached to the branches. Grandmother was finishing cooking. Wojtuś and Nora helped prepare the table, which was covered with a special white damask tablecloth. They brought spoons, forks, knives, and placed them by the plates. In the other room, Mother placed several Christmas tree branches in a vase and decorated it with small red baubles and pieces of wool fluff. Nora knew there would be presents under the second Christmas tree. Nora and Wojtuś watched the adventures of Huckleberry Hound and Yogi Bear on TV and looked out the window. The sky was overcast and they couldn't see the first star, but Mother said it was time and they sat down at the table. Nora liked the wafer the most. Mother and grandmother knew this and let her break off large pieces from their pieces as they exchanged wishes. Nora liked the colored headbands on the figures embossed on the wafers that grandmother brought from somewhere. The wafers were colorful and white. Nora was allowed to eat them throughout the holidays. Wojtuś didn't want to eat anything, but finally ate some mushroom soup that grandmother made from dried mushrooms and which smelled delicious. They ate a little of everything. However, both Nora and Wojtuś were already ready, waiting for presents. When they finished eating, Mother went to the other room, and when she returned, she said, "You know what, children? Santa must have already been here. There are presents under the tree." Nora knew Mother had put the presents under the tree, but Wojtuś's mouth dropped open in surprise. Mother handed him a parcel. He tore open the wrapping paper and saw a red fire truck. Suddenly something happened that no one, neither Mother nor grandmother nor Nora, expected. Wojtuś froze, then jumped up from the table, dropping his plate and fork. The makielki scattered across the carpet. The plate shattered, and the boy rushed to the door in the hallway leading to the corridor. It was locked with an upper lock, which he couldn't reach. He stood in front of it and began pounding on it with his small fists. Mother ran to him and tried to embrace him, but he struggled, continued to pound on the door. Mother unlocked the door and opened it. Wojtuś, clutching the truck, rushed to the next door where an elderly woman lived and began pounding on it with his small fists. When the neighbor opened the door, her family standing behind her, Wojtuś lifted the red truck into the air, shouting, "Mine! My truck!" Then he ran to Mr. and Mrs. L's door and did the same. When they opened it, he showed them his truck, ran down the stairs, and frantically banged on each door with his fists. As doors opened, he showed them his truck and kept running. Mother tried to stop him, but finally gave up. When the entire staircase saw Wojtuś's truck, they admired it and said, "Oh, what a nice fire truck Santa brought you." When all the doors were open, Wojtuś finally calmed down and allowed Mother to take him by the hand, and they returned to their apartment. Nora stood holding her present, which she hadn't even opened yet. Wojtuś and Nora couldn't fall asleep for a long time. The little boy wouldn't let the toy fire truck be taken from him. He finally fell asleep, and then Mother took the gift and placed it next to the cot, so that when he woke up, he could see it immediately. After New Year's, Mother took Wojtuś and Nora to the station. All the children were there. They were crying. Only one of them would stay forever with the family with whom he had spent the holidays. The rest were boarding the train. A whistle sounded. Steam from the locomotive began to cover the platform. The train moved off. Nora never saw Wojtuś again.